Get the complete Associate Pastor meeting schedule at jsm.org.
I'm holding in my hand some of the prayer request forms that are filled out every day by people that call in, people just like you that call in and ask for prayer from Family Worship Center and SBN. We take all of these prayer requests. They're not only prayed for in the office, but they're placed in our prayer box here at Family Worship Center. And then every Sunday morning when we call forward our people to be anointed with oil and to be prayed over, we bring out the box that all of these prayer requests are placed in, and the pastors at Family Worship Center lay hands on them and pray for them again. I'm telling you this for the simple reason that if you have a need in your life, spiritual, physical, financial, domestic, emotional, whatever it may be, why don't you let us help you agree in prayer? You can see the phone number on the screen, or you can go online and fill out your prayer request form, but rest assured, whatever the need is, it will be prayed over. So let us hear from you.
Family Worship Center singer Donna Carline.
If God is dead, who's this living in my soul?
The Sun Life Radio presents Donna Carline's CD. Includes 7 inspirational songs that will bring you into the presence of the Lord.
Touch through me, Holy Spirit, touch through me. Aren't you thankful for that? Cross, the cross, where He gave His all.
Get Sun Life Radio presents Donna Carline. Call 1-800-288-8350 or get the Donna Carline CD online at jsm.org.
You're listening to WXPS LP 92.1 FM in Spartanburg, South Carolina.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. George H.W. Bush's hometown of Houston about to honor the 41st president one final time.
St. Martin's Episcopal Church in Houston will host a private funeral for the late president before he is transported by train to the Bush Presidential Library and Museum in College Station, Texas. Bush will be buried late this afternoon at his family plot. His final resting place will be alongside wife Barbara Bush and daughter Robin.
That's White House correspondent Greg Clugston. At the request of the U.S., Canada has detained a senior Chinese tech executive. Correspondent Joe McDonald in Beijing says Canadian authorities being very tight-lipped about the arrest.
They released no other details, but the Toronto newspaper, the Globe and Mail, said that she is accused of trying to evade U.S. trade curbs on Iran.
China is demanding the release of Meng Wanzhou, calling her arrest a human rights violation. The U.S. military says that one of the 2 crew members recovered after 2 Marine Corps aircraft collided off the coast of Japan has died. 5 others still missing. The Marine Corps says the other recovered crew member is in fair condition. Also at SRNnews.com, American businesses hired new workers at a solid clip in November, adding 179,000 jobs, according to a private survey.
Payroll processor ADP says last month's job gains slowed from October's strong showing of 225,000. However, November's hiring is enough to lower the unemployment rate over time. ADP said job gains were strong in health care, which added 37,000 jobs, and in hotels as well as restaurants, which gained 26,000. Construction gained 10,000 positions, while manufacturing added just 4,000.
Correspondent Jeremy House. On Wall Street, the Dow is down 559 points, the S&P off 54 points. This is SRN News. The U.S. Catholic priest abuse scandal takes an international turn.
Bureau of Immigration spokeswoman Dana Sandoval says the Reverend Kenneth Bernard Hendricks, who has been indicted in Ohio for illicit sexual conduct in the Philippines, was arrested Wednesday in a church. Sandoval said that an Ohio court had issued a warrant for the arrest of the 77-year-old Hendricks, who has been living in the Philippines for 37 years. She says the suspect allegedly abused 7 victims and 50 counts of molestation in his residence in a case that's both shocking and appalling. Patrick Voss reporting.
As Jews celebrate Hanukkah and remember those killed at a synagogue in Pittsburgh, Jewish professional athletes are decrying anti-Semitism. Memphis Grizzlies forward Omri Caspi, who was born in Israel, says he recently saw a picture of himself defaced with a swastika. And New England Patriots receiver Julian Edelman reports hearing anti-Semitic taunts during games. This is SRN News. Israel's government takes on the troubling issue of spousal abuse. We get the latest from the Media Line's Michael Friedson.
Only days after Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu launched an operation against the Lebanese-based Hezbollah's network of terror tunnels, a move some are calling the first step to the next war, a war against the abuse of women is also underway. 30,000 demonstrators jammed into Tel Aviv's Rabin Square to protest government inaction against spousal abuse. Netanyahu declared another war against terror. Telling protesters that domestic violence is terrorism, Netanyahu promised to see that unspent allocated funds will be freed up and more added if necessary. Offenders need to be punched in the face, the Prime Minister said, a thought echoed by roughly half the population determined to deliver such a punch of their own in the voting booth. I'm Michael Friedson, SRN News, Jerusalem.
More details at themedialine.org and srnnews.com.
Cool and dry through Friday, then watching a potentially big winter storm system for the weekend. The WXPS weather forecast for this afternoon, skies will be mostly sunny, a bit breezy with a high climbing to around 45. Southwest wind 10 to 15 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies for tonight, the low falls to around 34. Friday, partly cloudy early, then becoming mostly cloudy in the afternoon, 52. And mostly cloudy with widely scattered showers for Friday night, low near 36. Our weekend outlook, a wintry mix of precipitation with a high in the upper 30s for Saturday. Sunday brings heavy snow showers with a high in the mid-30s. For 92.1 WXPS, I'm meteorologist James Coppington.
And currently in Spartanburg, we have sunshine and 42 degrees.
This is Your Lunch Hour with Scott Corbin on WXPS FM 92.1 and online at WXPSFM.com.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome into your lunch hour, and this is also the first hour of our December Radiothon. So we welcome you into the program today. Praise the Lord for Him allowing us to be here today and have another opportunity to come to you and say, let's keep this radio station on the air for another month. And I'm going to tell you right up front, then I'm going to turn it over to Nikki to start out by giving our contact information. We need your help, not only in the Radiothon this month, but we greatly need the assistance of everybody who can, but especially first-time donors, people who would be giving for the very first time. We need your help in this because we need to raise a lot of money in the building fund as well as the $1,600 in our radio fund goal. That's up $50 from before because Nikki told me today we're not quite covering everything. We're seeing an increase in the power bills here at the new location, and we're about to see an increase probably in January in the monthly fee we pay to have our antenna on the tower in downtown Spartanburg. And so $1,600 again is our radio goal for the month of December. And we put in a goal, I believe you have on the slides there, $2,000 in the building fund. But honestly, folks, if we could go way, way above that, if there's somebody out there, maybe a couple of folks out there, and maybe you've never given before, but you could give a significant gift of maybe thousands of dollars into the building fund. I can't tell you what a blessing that would be as we're getting ready to close out the year 2018. Some of you, and we do this as well, so there's some Christians that disagree with this. I don't understand the reasoning behind it. I think it's perfectly appropriate if you itemize your deductions on your income tax returns. I think it's perfectly appropriate to take off your giving to 501c3 organizations, which we are, whether it's a church, a ministry, whatever. And I would say to people, you think it's not right to do that for whatever reason. Well, if you're itemizing anyway, if you're able to itemize your deductions, why not go ahead and take that off? And then if you feel like it would be wrong to get a refund based on that, figure out what that refund is increased to based on your donations and turn around and give that to the church again. I mean, it's a win-win situation, no matter how you look at it. So my point is this: for those who do take your donations to charitable organizations off of your taxes, you've only got a few more weeks left, as you know, in 2018, in order to make those final donations. And some of you, maybe the Lord has dealt with, and you know the Lord is telling you you've not done yet for the work of the Lord what needs to be done in 2018. And so not only is it a tax situation, but it's a situation, most importantly, of being obedient to the Lord and hearing from the Lord and knowing what it is He would have you do and obeying Him in doing that. So with that being said, I just want to reiterate, we need your help in the December Radiothon. We need your help in the building fund. I said earlier in church, and Nikki and I talked about it earlier, I'm not going to get on here and talk so much about how giving normally goes down in December, because I'm not expecting that. I'm expecting God's people to rise to the occasion and say, we're going to support the work of the Lord this Christmas season, just like we do all the other times, even more so. Even more so. That's what I'm believing for.
Right. As you said, we have the radio goal that needs to be met, and we really need to meet a lot in the building fund. And so we're asking people to step up and be a part of giving this month. And, we thank God for those people that sometimes at this time of year, they are feeling like they need to do a little bit more for the gospel. And we ask that you consider prayerfully doing that as well. The ways to give, I want to give that quickly, so you can get busy giving. You can go online to our website, wxpsfm.com, and click on the donate link. And when you do that, it will take you safely and securely through PayPal, and you can give that way, wxpsfm.com. You can call 864-327-8725. We have someone here answering the phone, and we'll be glad to take your credit or debit card information over the phone, and we'll process that later today. So again, that's 864-327-8725. 8725, or you can text the word GIVE, GIVE, to 864-507-9382. When you text the word GIVE to that number, it will come back and ask for your credit or debit card information. It's a one-time setup. Once you've set it up, in the future, all you have to do is type in the amount you're giving. So again, it's 864-507-9382. That is a text number. You can mail a check or money order to P.O. Box 1905, Spartanburg, South Carolina 29304. But if you're going to do that, go ahead and call us or message us somehow and let us know that you're sending something so we can include it in today's totals. Or you can stop by 250 North Church Street in downtown Spartanburg, across from the Marriott, where the bookstore is open today until 2 o'clock. And we've got a lot of great product in there, but I bring up our baked goods. Mm-hmm. We've had people in the church baking recently and bringing things.
They've really been going all out.
Yes.
Some good stuff in there.
Yes, it's been so good. And
we've bought a lot of it, is what she's saying.
Yes.
But there's some left for you. There's some left for you, so come on down and get it.
Well, usually I wait and let people in the church or whoever pick out things first, and then I go back. But yesterday when the peanut butter cookies showed up on the shelf and there was only one pack of them, I couldn't wait because my oldest absolutely loves them. And so I had to grab them.
They're about gone, aren't they?
I think so. Yep. And I only ate one, so they're the kids that got the rest. But but I had to do that. But there's still several great things down there too. As well as we also have elderberry syrup that was made. And
now tell them what that's for, because a lot of people don't know what elderberry syrup is.
I think like one of the big things that it's known for is helps with like colds and flus, but really it has a lot of health benefits to it. If you Google it, you can read about all the different things. It's good for I think digestion and good for I don't know, a lot. Mainly, like I said, mainly people think about it with colds and flus, but there's a lot of things that it is good for, and it's recommended you just take a spoonful a day. But then if you get sick, take a spoonful every couple of hours or whatever. And really, it's not something that you can overdose on. You can take as much as you want.
It's all natural, right?
It's all natural.
Made with honey.
It's made with elderberries, honey.
Yeah.
I think cloves are in it. So it's all natural. And I had a friend who introduced me to elderberry syrup years ago, and I remember she would say that she and her family would even pour some on ice cream and eat it, or they'd eat it on their pancakes. I mean, that's how much they loved it. They just ate it. They ate it on everything. And you know, I mean, I think it's good. Some people think the taste maybe is a little bit bitter or something, but I think it tastes good. But
anyway, we've got some.
But you can just a spoonful a day. So we've got that.
Yep.
So we've got a lot of things. So come by, look at the bookstore, look at the product. We have Brother Swaggert's Ministries product. We have some things from Lighthouse Trails. We have just some odds and ends down there. But all things I think would be something you'd like to browse around. And like I said, while you're here, drop off your donation.
I just thought of one more thing. We've got some more of these bracelets, which I don't know if you probably can't see mine, but it says "Keep Christ in Christmas." It's a red bracelet with a green cross on it. We got some of those for sale. Anyway, last night as we were doing some cleaning at home, I found those buttons that say the first liberty is religious. I can't remember exactly what it says, but I put some of those down there as well. So there's some unique items like that you can't get anywhere else unless you order them, and a lot of people don't even know where to order them from. So they need to come on by. But to go back to the baked goods for a minute, let's just because I'm saying this because I know how people are attracted to food. I mean, we have to eat, and people like sweet stuff like that. So this might entice them to come in. We've got a plain pound cake down there, a half. We've got, is it called peppermint bark? Which is, I guess, chocolate with peppermint on it. We've got some peanut brittle left, I believe. Do we have this? We got some 7-layer cookies left, and those are delicious. And Jane made those. What else? There's some. Is it what kind
I think a black walnut.
Black walnut. That's what I was trying to think of. We've got 2 halves of that are being sold separately from each other. And that I like the half cake thing because that helps people afford it better. And if you're just a single person or maybe a couple, you might not want a whole cake or whatever. So we've tried to package things, with that thought in mind. And there's a pumpkin roll down there that's greatly reduced now, and the pumpkin roll is delicious.
Yes.
So if you missed during the fall season having pumpkin roll, you got to try some during the Christmas season.
And there was Jane had brought in yesterday some of these Oreo things. I don't know exactly what they were, but they look good.
They look good.
They look good. And
if it's got Oreos in it, it's got to be good. But when Jane gets into something, it's going to be good.
I know the kids have just thoroughly enjoyed bringing home. A lot of the baked goods have come from Sister Jane, and I know your brother Jimmy has brought some, and your mom has brought some. But Jane has been kind of bringing in quite a few things every service, and everybody's been enjoying it. But my kids have always loved her cooking, and yesterday Chloe was eating a piece of her pecan pie, which is really good too. And because we bought a pie, and Chloe was eating, and she was talking about how good Jane cooks, and she said, "We just need to go to her house and eat."
Nothing like inviting yourself, huh?
And so, Jane's a good cook on a lot of things. I know she's brought us meals before as well, not just desserts, and But so the baked goods are good, and we also have downstairs coffee and hot chocolate and apple cider.
And tomorrow will be Free Coffee Friday again, so they can get a cup of coffee or hot chocolate for free. Tomorrow.
But you can come
buy
on
one
today
today.
and buy one and get you a cake and go home and sip your coffee and eat your cake.
And if you can, bring a donation with you. We're trying to entice you in because we want you to become familiar with the bookstore and the adjacent prayer room and make use of these. I think they're blessings for Spartanburg. Make use of them, please. But during this radiothon, if you don't have to, we'd love for you just to come by and browse around and maybe buy something and not give a donation if you can't. But if you can, we would really appreciate a donation to the radio station and or to the building fund. We need it.
Right.
All right. I want to mention one thing that I talked to you earlier about. Some of you who are regular listeners, you've no doubt heard some of what we're calling the Christmas minutes that we are airing. They're usually about a minute to a minute and a half long, and they're just airing at various times throughout the day. And included in this are some kind of nostalgic things, looking back on some Christmas traditions. Like the first one that comes to my mind is a Charlie Brown Christmas. We talked a little bit about that in one of them. We talk about some of the other Christmas traditions, not music or TV, but things like, where the Christmas tree came from and things like that. We have also one that has the president doing the, is it called the dedication ceremony at the Christmas tree in Washington, where he read from Luke chapter 2. And then we have some that are a little bit humorous. It's not really funny that these things happen, but we call it the Grinch department, and it's about people that are doing things to try to hinder normal Christmas celebrations. They even, this year, we've had the old TV program Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer spoken against. We've had the song, and we don't talk about these on the Christmas Minute because they're, we try to keep it to more neutral or even spiritual things, but there's a particular song that's not really a Christmas song, but it's played a lot at Christmas, and they've decided now that should not be played. At least one radio station said we won't play it this year. And then I read something just today. This is from a church, and I'm going to be adding this to the Christmas Minute collection as well. A church is obviously a liberal church. They have their nativity scene out, and with their promotion of the agenda to let all illegals come in and not build a wall and so forth, they have the baby Jesus in a cage, because, there's a story about children were supposedly put in cages as they were crossing the border. And they have the three wise men standing behind a wall or something, like they can't get in. So we're going to be dealing with that one. But anyway, said all that to say this. We're going to offer a CD with all the Christmas minutes on it. And right now we have about 30 different ones. And we're going to be adding some more as the season continues, as we learn about more things that are going on this year. And maybe as we decide to research some more old Christmas traditions and kind of give a nostalgic approach to it. And most importantly, we probably have about 10 or so of them that are just the reading of Scripture from Matthew 1 and 2 and Luke 1 and 2. The end of Matthew 1 on into chapter 2, and then Luke 1 and Luke 2, selected verses there, being read by Max McLean. And so this will bless you as well. So we'll put all those together. As soon as we get a little bit further into it and have a little bit more of them done, we're going to put them on a CD and give a free CD copy of all those Christmas minutes to anyone who gives a gift of a certain amount. And what is that amount? Because we didn't talk about that. What do you say?
Whatever you say.
Let's say at least $10. If you give at least a $10 gift in the Radiothon today, tomorrow, or Saturday, and you have to ask for it, because there'll be some folks who will give and they won't necessarily care about getting that. And so you have to ask for it, and if you've already given, and we're going to get to that in a minute, talk about who's already given, come back to me and say, hey, I'd like to have one of those CDs if you want one. I think it just, maybe 10 or 20 years from now, if you still got it laying around, you put it in and it reminds you of what Christmas 2018 was like and things like that. It could be kind of neat, I think. So we wanted to offer that as kind of a premium this time to encourage people to give. So if you're going to call in and give, or if you come by, or if you see us in person at church or whatever and give, just say, hey, I'd like a copy of that CD. And as soon as we have it ready, we will get you a copy. You will get it before Christmas this year. There'll be a cutoff time, and we'll say, hey, we're going to put all these on the CD, even if we might do more between that date and Christmas. But we're going to have a cutoff, and we'll make the CDs, get them duplicated quickly, and get them out to everybody. We will mail it to you. And so as you're giving, please keep in mind there is a cost for us to be able to make that CD, and there will be a cost for us to mail it to you if you can't come by and pick it up. So that's why we're saying at least a $10 gift. But if you can do more, please do more to help us out. All right, let's talk about who has given already and what I know our total has been showing on the screen anyway, and I believe it's $665. There it is now. And so where are we, or who has made up that total so far?
All right, I'm pulling up my list. We had the Taylors give $50 this month. His Light Ministries gave $25. Mm-hmm. We had a Rebecca that gave $50, and then another Rebecca who gave $40.
Praise the Lord.
Joe and Melissa gave $200, and we have an anonymous that gave $300.
Okay.
And that comes to $665. So we're doing well in the radio fund. And then we also say some of you may have seen our broadcast earlier, or I was going to say earlier this month, but it may have been November, that we started a kind of year-end building fundraiser. And we talk about that in a moment, because basically each month during the Radiothon, we have a $2,000 goal for the building fund. And that is really just to pay the bare minimum bills. And we need that $2,000 raised today for that. We need the, is it $1,600 for the radio? Mm-hmm. And we need the $2,000 for the building.
Well, and we've missed a lot of months getting anywhere near that $2,000. Right. So if we could, like I said, if we have some generous people who are able to give more, we need more.
Right. That's what I was saying. That's the bare minimum. That's what we have to get today. But in our year-end building fund, we're really trying to raise over $20,000, and that even that won't pay us off as far as the renovation debt, but that would help immensely. So what we did was we began a wall, and I don't know if the boys downstairs have the image where they can pull it up.
Well, would it be the latest one, even if they did have it? So we might want to just check that before they pull
I don't
it
know.
up. Let's make sure it's
But
the
what we
latest
did was we created a wall with numbers from 1 to 200, and we asked people if you can give any amount on that wall to select them out and send it. Of course, you can send whatever you want, even if it's not on the wall. We would love to get some, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 gifts or whatever the Lord lays on your heart. But we do that to try to encourage people to say, look, there's these smaller amounts on here, and anyone can be a part. And if everybody would do something, we could raise over $20,000. And we're going to continue showing that image throughout December and praying and asking people, consider doing more. Now, on that, I believe we've raised over 500 so far. But again, we need 2,000 just to meet the bare minimum of the expenses. So today we're starting with a scratch of we need $2,000 as a minimum, but we ask you to consider all of the month of December. We really need over $20,000. We need.
Yes, we do.
If someone wrote us a check for $50,000, we could easily go and pay bills with that.
Every penny would be gone immediately.
It wouldn't be
to pay some things
any
off.
excess left over. It would go to pay bills. And honestly, we're coming up on the new year, and our prayer is to be able to purchase this building because we renovated it with the plans to purchase it, but we're currently only renting. And we need God to move. And the way he'll move is through his people. God can miraculously bring money if he desires to, but he uses his people.
Yes.
He uses, and that's a miracle too, because he moves upon the heart of his people, but people have to respond. And so many times people don't respond when I know God is speaking to their hearts. And we're asking you, if God has laid something on your heart, do it. For today, we need any gift, whatever size it is. We need people, if it is $10, to give $10, if it's $20, if it's $30, if it's $50. But some of you out there, you could do $1,000. You could do $2,000. You could do $5,000. I was talking to someone recently, and she was talking about how at the end of the year, sometimes businesses realize that they need to give a little more for their tax purposes, really. And so maybe you're a business owner and you're looking at your finances right now and you're thinking, wow, I'm going to owe a lot of taxes. Well, pray about giving a donation to the church. We'll give you a receipt. It's 501c3, and you'll be helping the work that we're doing.
Amen.
As you're doing that. So pray about it and give today. We need people to step up and start giving. And we need God to move mightily this weekend as we ask
and we're
for
believing
donations.
for it.
Yes.
I felt it strongly in church last night with the songs they were singing about being thankful at the end of the praise and worship set. We called people forward and asked them to please come pray about the radiothon. And I said, don't come pray like we're pitiful and begging God for help. This is God's work, and I believe God is going to maintain and sustain and support his work. We come thanking him for what he's going to do. But like you said, he will move upon the hearts of his people in order to accomplish what it is that he wants done. So if you're one of those folks that he's going to speak to over this next day or so in this radiothon, I just want to say, please hear the voice of the Lord, obey him, and thank you for what you will do. And I always feel like maybe we need to say this also when we're talking about people giving who maybe don't even live in Spartanburg. They don't go to Truth. Maybe they do live in Spartanburg, but they don't go to Truth Chapel. They have a church that they're happy with. And so I feel like we need to say, well, why should they be willing to support this ministry when they have their own church they attend, or if they're out of town, they might listen or watch sometimes online to our broadcast throughout the day. Is it worthy of their support? I believe that it is. I believe I can say that we are one of the few voices. Now, we are much smaller than the main voice you would think about that talks about what we talk about, which is SBN. They're the main voice as far as size, but there are other churches like ours that do preach the message of the cross. They do take a strong stand on social issues and what some would call political issues and things like that. Well, we try to do that not only in church but over this radio station. And that's what makes the church a little bit different, is that we do have a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week outreach to anyone and everyone that wants to listen and take part of it. And we do take strong stands on things that we feel like are so crucial and necessary in the days in which we live. So if that is something that you feel like is worthy of your support and that you should be a part of, I want you to know you're doing a lot more than just keeping a building open where a small number of people can come and have church. But rather you are doing something to support an outreach that goes a lot further than that. And just it's not out there just being religious or trying to stick the label Christian on ourselves and maybe every now and then using the Bible or whatever. But this is the gospel.
Right.
This is the gospel of Jesus Christ. And what better time to support it than during the season when we say we are celebrating his birth. We know that Jesus very, very likely was not born in December, and we certainly wouldn't know if it's December the 25th. It was probably at another time during the year, but we've chosen this time of year for whatever reason, and maybe some of the reasoning was not the best, but it is what it is. This is the season when most Christians celebrate the birth of our Savior. What better way to celebrate than to give into his work so that his coming to this earth would not be in vain for someone who never gets to hear the gospel. You know, we've heard from people that are just, middle-class people like we are, and some, I'm not sure we've ever heard from any that are more upper class as far as money, but maybe they listen to the station. Though we've heard from people who are homeless who listen to this radio station. So I believe it does cover everybody. The gospel is for everyone. It doesn't matter age. It doesn't matter social status or economic status. The gospel is for everybody, and we believe in telling the truth over this radio station. So I want to ask you, would you consider being a part of what's taking place over Sound of Truth Radio and over Vision of Truth? Some of you are watching on social media right now. We're available not on social media 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because I don't think social media is quite at the place that they allow that, but we are available on visionoftruth.tv and Vision of Truth on your Roku device, on your TV, 24/7. For audio, you can go to TuneIn, you can go to our website and get audio 24/7, no matter where you are, as long as you're connected to the internet. So it's a very special and unique opportunity the Lord has given to us, and we want to be faithful in the word that comes over this radio station, and we're asking you to be faithful in the giving to continue to make it possible. So thank you for what you're going to do, and thank you to all those who have given already and brought us to our total of $665.
Right.
Can you got anything new there?
I don't. And
Okay.
I was going to say, all those donations were things that came in prior to today, because there were people who they regularly give. They know that we have Radiothon, and they just go ahead and send in their donation or go ahead and
Right.
tell us to put them down for something. So we need people to give today. We need you to be a part. Online, you can go to our website, wxpsfm.com, and click on the donate link, and you give safely and securely via PayPal. You can give us a call at 864-327-8725, and when you do so, someone will answer the phone and be able to take your credit or debit card information over the phone, and we can process that later today. You can text the word GIVE, G-I-V-E, to 864-507-9382. When you text the word GIVE, it will come back and it prompts you for your credit debit card information. It's a safe thing to do, and after you've given your credit debit card information in the future, all you have to do is type in GIVE and type in the amount. You don't ever have to type in all that information again. You can mail a check or money order to P.O. Box 1905, Spartanburg, South Carolina 29304. But if you're going to do that, please go ahead and let us know what you're sending so we can include it in today's totals. Or you can stop by at 250 North Church Street in downtown Spartanburg, across the street from the Marriott. The bookstore is open at 2 o'clock, so you can come down anytime of the day and shop around, drop off your donation, and we'd love to see you.
Right. In just a minute, I want to play something that I think is going to be a blessing to you. And I'll go ahead and tell you what it is now so you can call somebody and tell them to listen, because there's a lot of folks who will remember this from days gone by, but maybe it's been a long, long time since they've heard it. And we did a small excerpt of this on one of our Christmas Minutes that I was talking about a moment ago. But what I'm speaking of is Paul Harvey, who was a radio commentator, newsman, for many, many years. He passed away in about 2009, I believe it was. And I remember when I worked at a secular radio station not far from here, back in the 80s, every day his program, he had a 15-minute news program. It would air from 12:30 to 12:45 every weekday. And he also did something called The Rest of the Story. But it became a tradition for Paul Harvey to tell this story related to Christmas every year over his radio program. It's called The Man and the Birds, and if you haven't ever heard that, I think it'll be a blessing to you. I want to play that in just a few minutes, so tell somebody that might like that to tune in if they can. Before we do that, though, I was just thinking we've got the Christmas movie we're showing tomorrow night.
Yes.
After we get off the air here at 6 o'clock, finishing up the Friday version of the Radiothon, we got about an hour break, and then at 7 o'clock Friday night, we are showing a movie. You want to tell them anything about that and invite them to come on out?
The movie we're showing is called Christmas Child. I don't really know a lot to say about it without giving away any spoilers.
It's a drama.
It is. It's a Christian film.
It is. Mm-hmm.
It's about a man who, I believe, if I remember correctly, he finds out that he was adopted, and he goes for a search to find out the story of his birth parents and wants to know where he came from. And there's a lot of different issues that are brought up in it, and it's a beautiful story. It's one of those that at the end it's really heartwarming, and
it's all tied into the Christmas season.
Yes.
So we want to invite you to come out and see that. Some of you may have seen it already, but you might enjoy watching it again.
Yes, it's an older film.
Yeah, with a group of people. It probably came out in early 2000s,
I
maybe,
think I
something
saw
like that.
it yesterday. I was looking it up again, and I think it was early 2000s that it came out.
So if you've seen it, come see it with us again tomorrow night. It is free. We don't charge you a thing to come in and enjoy whatever movie we're showing once a month. And we committed to it being a Christmas feature in the month of December, so that's why we're showing this particular one. And if you've never seen it, I really think it'll, like you said, it's heartwarming. I believe it'll be a blessing to you. So come on out tomorrow night. Now, it's going to be, I guess it's going to be cold tomorrow, so are we doing refreshments tomorrow night? Since we normally do them outdoors, is that appropriate?
I assume we would. It is going to be cold. I don't know.
Maybe we'll wait and see on that.
We can talk more about it.
Yeah, see what the weather's like tomorrow and what the temperature is like. But if we do refreshments, those will be available starting at 6:15 on our back deck. But definitely the feature will be showing at 7 o'clock, and we'd love for you to come.
Yep.
All right. Anything else? So we just gave the contact information a few minutes ago, didn't we? I think you gave it.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I did.
All right. And it's showing on the screen, of course, for those of you that are watching online. But I'll just give at least one phone number again for those by radio. It's 327-8725. That is a Spartanburg number, 327-8725. And come by the bookstore. When we come back, I want to talk about those baked goods again.
Right.
And get people to come by the bookstore. Tony's down in the bookstore. He's ready to answer the phone. He's ready to meet and greet you in person. So come on by and see us today if you can. But if not, get in touch by internet or by telephone. We need to hear from you. This is Radiothon for the month of December, and we will be back right after Paul Harvey with his annual traditional story, The Man and the Birds, on Sound of Truth Radio.
The man I'm talking about was not a Scrooge now. He was a kind, a decent, a mostly good man, generous to his family and upright in his dealings with other men, but he just did not believe in all of that incarnation stuff which the churches proclaim at Christmas time. It just did not make sense, and he was too honest to pretend otherwise. He could not swallow the Jesus story about God coming to earth as a man. He told his wife, "I'm truly sorry to distress you, but I'm just not going with you to church this Christmas Eve." He said he'd feel like a hypocrite, that he'd much rather just stay home, but that he would wait up for them. So he stayed, and they went to the midnight service. Now, shortly after the family drove away in the car, snow began to fall. He went to the window to watch the flurries getting heavier and heavier. Then he went back to his fireside chair, began to read his newspaper. Minutes later, he was startled by a thudding sound, and then another, then yet another. At first he thought somebody must be throwing snowballs against the living room window. But when he went to the front door to investigate, he found a flock of birds huddled out there miserably in the snow. They had been caught in the storm. In a desperate search for shelter, they had tried to fly through his large landscape window. That was what had been making the sound. Well, he couldn't let those poor creatures just lie there and freeze. So he remembered the barn where his children stabled their pony. That would provide a warm shelter. All he would have to do is direct the birds into that shelter. Quickly, he put on a coat and galoshes, and he tramped through the deepening snow to the barn, and he opened the doors wide. And inside the barn, he turned on a light so the birds would know the way in. But the birds did not come in. So he figured that food would entice them. He went back into the house and fetched some breadcrumbs and sprinkled those on the snow, making a trail of breadcrumbs to the yellow-lighted, wide-open doorway of the stable. But to his dismay, the birds ignored the breadcrumbs. The birds just continued to flop around helplessly in the snow. He tried catching them. He could not. He tried shooing them into the barn by walking around them, waving his arms, but instead they scattered in every direction except into the warm, lighted barn. And that's when he realized that they were afraid of him. They were afraid of him. To him, he reasoned, I'm a strange, terrifying creature. If only I could think of some way to let them know that they can trust me, that I'm not trying to hurt them but to help them. But how? Any move he made tended to frighten them and confuse them. They just would not follow. They would not be led or shooed because they feared him. And he thought to himself, if only I could be a bird now, if I could be a bird and mingle with them and speak their language and tell them not to be afraid, then I could show them the way to the safe, warm barn. But I would have to be one of them, wouldn't I? So they could see and hear and understand. At that moment, the church bells began to ring. The sound reached his ears above the sounds of the wind, and he stood there listening to the bells. Adeste Fidelis. Listening to the bells pealing the glad tidings of Christmas, and he sank to his knees in the snow. Paul Harvey, I hope for you and those you love, this will be a wonderfully Merry Christmas.
That is Paul Harvey on FM 92.1 WXPS, The Man and the Birds, it is called. And I bet for some of you it's been a long time since you heard that, but you probably do remember it. I like looking back at some of the older, I'll be honest, I don't like the world today very much. And I think as believers, we should feel that way anyway. We're just pilgrims passing through. But the way things continue to change, for the most part, is not good, in my opinion. And it's nice to look back at simpler times and when things were, not quite as, not as much rebellion going on and not as much ungodliness and things of that nature. And so things like that, I think, help us kind of look back with fond memories if you remember those type of things. And for those that are introduced to things like that for the first time, you can learn that Christmas is about more than just getting gifts and all the worldliness that accompanies it in the days in which we're living. So anyway, we'll be playing that some more probably during these Radiothon programs, along with some other things that will bring back memories and hopefully bless you during this Christmas season. We're at 20 minutes now before the top of the hour. I'm going to ask Nikki again to give the contact information because we need to raise money. We need to raise $1,600 for radio, $2,000 minimum in a building fund. So that means we need $3,600 minimum over this next 3 days. Now, that's not much for a network to raise that's on the air all over the world, but for this radio station and for the numbers that we reach a lot of people, but still it's a lot of money to be raised. So we need to get busy doing that. We are at $665 and very grateful for every dollar that's come in so far, grateful to every single person and family who has given. But we do need to hear from you, and if we can go above 3,600 and get some extra in the building fund, we need it desperately. So here's how to get in touch with us.
You can go to our website, wxpsfm.com, and click on the donate link. It will take you safely and securely through PayPal. Again, that's wxpsfm.com, and click on the donate link. You can also give us a call at 864-327-8725. When you do that, we can take your credit or debit card information over the phone and process that. Again, that's 864-327-8725. You can text the word GIVE, G-I-V-E, to 864-507-9382. And when you text the word GIVE, it will prompt you for your credit or debit card information, and you can give that way. Or you can also use your checking account with the texting, but there's another step involved that involves a computer. So that's also an option, though, if you are interested. You can mail a check or money order to P.O. Box 1905, Spartanburg, South Carolina, 29304. But if you're going to mail something, please go ahead and call us or message us and let us know what you're going to be sending so we can include it in today's totals. You can stop by our bookstore at 250 North Church Street in downtown Spartanburg. It's right across from the Marriott two-story brick building. We invite you to come, browse around our bookstore, enjoy the baked goods, and get you some Christmas shopping done. And then while you're here, drop off your donation for the Radiothon.
All right. Before you talk about some more upcoming events that we have, I forgot to show this when we were talking about nostalgia a moment ago. This is an 8-track tape. How many of you out there remember 8-track tapes? And it's Brother Swaggart with the Christmas Spirit. This even, I remember getting this, let's see, I'm trying to remember if I got this on a CD or how I first got a copy in the early 90s. But this goes back to the 80s, I guess. And this is the original picture on it, and they changed it. It's what I'm trying to get around to saying. They changed the picture down the road, but this has got here's Brother Swaggart and Sister Swaggart. I can't see too well in here, and there's a very young Donnie and his wife, and Gabriel's the oldest, right, of their children. Is that Gabriel there? You might can tell better than me, but anyway, just
I don't.
I can't remember if Gabriel's the oldest or if his sister's the oldest.
I think the sister's the oldest, and this looks like somebody with a dress on.
Okay.
So I'm thinking it's just his sister.
Okay. So anyway, we have this now. If we can't raise this money, I might be auctioning this off a little bit later, and we'll start it at $3,600 or something like that. I'm kidding about that, but anyway, just wanted to show that. What we got coming up starting next week?
Well, next week on Tuesday is the Christmas parade in downtown Spartanburg. It begins up on Pine Street is where it
coming
starts
off of
at.
Henry Street onto Pine Street.
And
right.
then it comes all the way to it goes up Main Street and then comes up Church Street. And it actually ends right at the Marriott. So it actually comes right by our church building, and we're excited about that. And we actually have a float in the parade. And we're going to have our church folks out there waving, and some of them walk around passing out candy. And then we're also going to have the bookstore open that day. And Scott's going to be here doing a live radio broadcast. And I know Bobby and Jane are going to be in the bookstore. I'm not sure if anyone else at this point, but Jane already told me she's going to bring some more baked goods for Tuesday.
Right.
And so she's going to have some good things in there available to eat. And we'll have the store open and invite you to come in. I know sometimes maybe while you're waiting on the parade to start, you might want to walk in and get warm a minute and browse around, and then go back out to the sidewalk to watch the parade when it gets here. And so we're looking forward to that. And if you're in Spartanburg and you're going to be watching the parade, come out to our church building and stand out front and visit, and come into the bookstore and visit. Actually, our unit is number 11 in the parade, which is kind of early on in the parade. So, but I'm excited about that, because I told Scott when we got to the Marriott, and we had to turn down the street to get out of the way of traffic. But I told Scott I was going to get Jimmy, who'd be driving the truck, pulling the trailer, to let me and the kids off, and we were going to walk back to the church and So we'll be here the rest of the time after our unit gets through, and able to greet people in the bookstore as well. And so come out. It's going to be good.
Yes, yeah, it's going to be. We're taking part every way we know how, being in the parade, broadcasting the parade for those that might be listening and you're kind of a shut-in maybe and you can't get out, especially at night. You can listen. We'll describe every unit that comes through. And also, I was reading in the information that was sent to us about our unit being in the parade. This is also called the staging area right out here, because when the TV people record, they'll be set up right across the road, I think, at the Marriott.
Yep.
And this is where groups and bands and so forth will be able to stop and perform. And so we'll be picking that up and airing that over the radio. And then, as you said, we're also participating by being here with the bookstore open and giving people a chance to come in and get something to eat, or just come in where it's warm for a few minutes. So it's the most exciting year yet for us in the Christmas parade, I think. So we're thrilled about that.
Yeah, and we've got our windows all decorated pretty, and so we're excited about that. I know last year we were working on the building but weren't in here yet, and I remember as we rode by, it was so neat, like, that's our building right there, and there were people standing out there, and I was like, man, I wish we were in there. And so this year we're actually here, and I'm excited about having the bookstore open too, because that just allows another avenue of reaching people and letting people walk in and greet them and stuff like that. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. That's this Tuesday night, and the parade starts usually about 6:30 from its starting point off of Henry Street.
Maybe.
I think it's about 6:30. So I would imagine that the beginning of the parade will probably be at this area by around 7 o'clock, something like that, maybe. And so that's about. We'll be broadcasted a little bit prior to that. Going around maybe interviewing some people that are here to see the parade, and we'll start talking about the units in the parade probably around 7, and it'll probably last for about an hour or so.
Right.
So looking for a fun night, and if you can't come down here and join us in person, join us by radio at least.
Yeah.
All right, so that's next Tuesday, and then what's next after that?
I think the next thing that's like that's coming up that we would announce on radio would be our Christmas movie that the church is making.
Okay.
You talked about the movie we're showing tomorrow night, but our church is making a Christmas movie for our production this year. In previous years, there's been years that we've done Christmas plays. When we had kids in the school, we had the school kids do productions and things, different things. And this year, in one year, actually several years ago, we produced our own movie. And so we decided to do that again this year, and we're working on that and trying to get it together, but we'll have it together by Sunday, December 23rd, the Sunday night before Christmas. That will be our service. We're going to come in and probably have some Christmas songs to start with, and then go into the movie.
And I don't know, for those listening, I don't know if we'll be broadcasting that service. I don't know if the movie, we'll have to talk about that. But
probably not.
My point is, I want people in Spartanburg to come join us that night in person. I want them to come see the movie.
Right. Just sharing the audio of the movie over online probably wouldn't
Yeah, so we need
be
you to
very
come.
good. So,
We want you to come.
So we want people to come and be a part of that. And then afterwards, I told our church folks that if they wanted the fellowship afterwards, that we could all go over to the Krispy Kreme, which is a couple of blocks over, and might be a lot of us going in there, but we'll go over and have some donuts and fellowship after the movie. So come out and be a part of it. I'm excited about it.
Sunday night, December the 23rd, 6 o'clock, right?
Yes.
Okay. And do we say that was all the December events, I believe, that we know of right now?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yes.
I know in January, we've got Marianne Peluso McGahan coming with her husband, Chris. They're going to minister. I don't have the dates in front of me, but that'll be in January, and we'll have another radiothon prior to that.
Yes.
And we'll be talking more about that. Need to play a lot of her music during that radiothon, too, to really promote that. So go ahead and put these things on your calendar and plan to be with us every time you can. And, hey, don't forget, we're going to be here, weather permitting, good Lord willing, we will be here Sunday morning at 10 o'clock and Sunday night at 6. What's the latest you've heard on the weather?
Snow.
Yeah, and probably prior to or maybe during service time is kind of what I think I'm hearing.
I think it's coming in Saturday. I think early Saturday in the mountains, and then by late Saturday it should reach Spartanburg. And from the last I looked, north of 85 is going to get hit pretty hard. South of 85 is going to start out mostly rain and then turn into snow. We live south of 85, but the church is downtown, and some of our church people are north of 85. So I know some of our church people are probably going to definitely be hit, and that concerns me about not having church Sunday, but we'll just have to wait and see closer to time what really happens. But I do know the weatherman said that from downtown Spartanburg upward, it would be pretty difficult road.
Right. So as far as making a decision about whether to have church, we always, if we're going to make a mistake, we always try to err on the side of caution for the people.
Well, we don't want anybody to get hurt.
As important as church is, I don't ever want to think about maybe somebody coming out to church because we opened it and we shouldn't have, and they slipped up and fell or got in a car wreck or whatever. So we always try to do what we feel like is most beneficial for the people. And, but you can't always say that, because we've got some folks that come from south of Spartanburg, some that come significantly north of Spartanburg, and it may be okay for some to come, but not others.
Right.
So everybody has to make their own decision, but mainly we will need to look at what the conditions are like right here in downtown Spartanburg at the church. If we feel like we have to close, if I can get here, we will be doing a live radio program at least. If we can't get here ourselves, we may be airing the Family Worship Center service, or we may record something and air. I'm not sure, but we'll be doing something to celebrate Sunday morning during this Christmas season. But let's assume that maybe they're wrong about the snow and we can have church. We want you to be here with us. 10 o'clock Sunday morning, 6 o'clock Sunday night this weekend. And folks, there's no better time to get started in church than at Christmas, I think.
Right.
If a person is not in church and you don't have a place you call a home church, it's a great time to go start getting involved in a local group of believers. That's kind of what I tried to teach about last night during our Wednesday night service, is being involved in a local church and the importance of that. And so I want you to know we'd love to have you at Truth Chapel. You are most welcome to be here. And not only do we want you here, but we need you here. We need you to be a part of what's going on here at Truth Chapel. And we're in a radiothon, so somebody may say, well, you need people to give. Well, yes, we do, but that's not really what I'm talking about. We need your prayers. We need your presence. We need your worship. If the Lord leads you in some type of service through this local church, we need that. And it's for the work of the Lord. It's not to glorify man or anything we do, or to say we accomplished something, but it's to obey the Lord. So we want you to obey the Lord by coming and being with us this Sunday if you can. 250 North Church Street is our location, and we're going to be looking for you. Any new donations? Because we need some donations.
Not anything, no.
All right, we need to hear from somebody. All right, we're at 6:65, but we started at 6:65 at noon today, so we've been here 53 minutes, and no additional donations have come in, so we really need to hear from you.
Right, and I encourage you, anytime this afternoon you can give, and we'll be back live at 5 o'clock, and when we come back live, we would love to be able to announce several donations. We would love to announce that the goal has been met. So pray about it and consider giving while we're on break. I'll go over the contact information again, WXPSFM.com. Go to that website, click on the donate link. It will take you to PayPal, WXPSFM.com, and click on the donate link. You can give us a call at 864-327-8725. Someone will be available to either answer the phone and take your credit or debit card information, or if you just leave your name and phone number, we'll call you back and get that information from you. But the bookstore is open until 2, so I assume that somebody will be available till 2 o'clock anyway to answer the phone and take that information from you. You can text 864-507-9382, and when you do, text the word give, and you can give that way. You can mail a check or a money order to P.O. Box 1905, Spartanburg, South Carolina 29304. But if you're going to do that, still either call us or send us a message and let us know that you are sending something so we can include it in today's totals. Or you can stop by. The bookstore is open until 2 o'clock today, 250 North Church Street in downtown Spartanburg. Come browse around the bookstore and drop off your donation. And honestly, even after the bookstore closes at 2, Scott and I will probably still be around here at the church. And so if you do show up after 2, just let us know you're out there so we can let you in and drop off your donation that way.
Right.
But we need people to start giving. And again, honestly, we're raising $1,600 for the radio. We're raising $2,000 for the building. But honestly, we need at least, I'll say at least $20,000 in radio to not just pay bare minimum, but to start paying off bills. And
I said in radio, really in the building fund.
yes, in building. Yes, in building. Yeah. And then you know, if somebody's out there who, again, you feel like this, as Christmas is approaching, that you need to do something more than you've done all year, and maybe you haven't paid your tithe like you should have, or you haven't given the offerings that you felt like you should have, and you know God's dealing with your heart, we invite you to be a part and give whatever God's laid on your heart today.
Amen. And let me just say once again, for anybody who may be interested, we will give you a CD copy of all the Christmas minutes that we've got now. We've got about 30 something of them now. I'm going to add a new one later today, and we'll probably wait a week or so and see how many more we add, so we can give you as many of them as possible on a CD. And for any donation of $10 or more, we will get that to you. But let me ask you this before we go to this song that'll take us up to the top of the hour, and then we'll be back live at 5 o'clock. Let me ask you, has the Lord blessed you? First of all, I'll start to say, have you given to the Lord as you should have this year? But first, has the Lord blessed you? Has the Lord blessed you in 2018? I know that He has. I know that He has. And that's true of every one of us. I was reading something earlier today that the poorest people in America are 8 times better off than people who are the best off in other nations. So I know that the Lord has blessed, and I'm just going to ask you, would you bless His work? Would you bless His work today? Give us a call, come by, go to the website, text us, however you may want to get in touch with us. We are waiting to hear from you. Here's Grace Brumley to take us up to the top of the hour. We'll be back live at 5 o'clock. Stay with us today if you can. God bless you.
Countless days on a journey that led so far. Endless nights they traveled to follow the star. They did not find a palace, just a humble village home. And searching for a king, but finding a child, no crown, no throne. Still they bowed down. Come, let us adore Him. Oh, come, let us adore Him. Oh, come, let us adore Him. Expectation turn to mystery. For nothing was like anything they dreamed. Anticipating the royal and those honored by this world. Instead, they gazed in the awestruck eyes of a lowly peasant girl, holding her child. Come, let us adore Him. Oh, come, let us adore Him. Oh, come, let us adore Him.
listening to WXPS LP 92.1 FM in Spartanburg, South Carolina.
Welcome to Through the Bible, an in-depth and intriguing study of God's Word that is designed to educate and edify our listeners. And now, here are your hosts, Scott and Nikki Corbin.
Lord, you're beautiful.
And if you would, turn with me in the Bible to 2 Corinthians chapter 12. My message, I don't usually give titles, but tonight my message is, Jesus is enough. Jesus is enough. 2 Corinthians in chapter 12, and I'm going to be starting at verse 1. It says, "It is not expedient for me, doubtless to glory. I will come to visions and revelations of the Lord. I knew a man in Christ above 14 years ago. Whether in the body I cannot tell, or whether out of the body I cannot tell. God knows. And such a one as one called up to the third heaven. And I knew such a man, whether in the body or out of the body I cannot tell. God knows. How that he was called up into paradise, and heard unspeakable words, which it is not lawful for a man to utter. Of such a one will I glory. Yet of myself I will not glory, but in my infirmities. For though I would desire to glory, I shall not be a fool. For I will say the truth, but now I forbear, lest any man should think of me above that which he sees me to be, or that he hears of me. Unless I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of the revelations, there was given to me a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure. For this thing I besought the Lord thrice, that it might depart from me. And he said unto me, My grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I glory in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. Therefore I take pleasures in infirmities, in reproaches, in necessities, in persecutions, in distresses for Christ's sake. For when I am weak, then am I strong.